How is it that a lexicologist, a speech and language specialist who isn't a Trekkie, is talking to me with authority about the Klingon language? How did you come across this?
Well, the first time I really became aware of it was watching one of my all-time favourite shows at the moment, Big Bang Theory.
Yes. Well, that's another one of our shameless plugs here at In My Backyard, Big Bang Theory, and hello to our friends at Big Bang Theory.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we know that the major character there, Sheldon, is a great fan of, is a Trekkie, and he in fact has the Klingon dictionary. We often see it in episodes, and he'll often go into Klingon speak, as we say.
No way.
Absolutely. So you don't watch this show regularly, Colin?
No, I'm not a Big Bang watcher, I must confess.
Aha.
Confession number 2, 4:32 in the afternoon. It's a show about confessions. If you feel like you want to ease a burden that you have and make a confession on the wireless, you can feel free to do that, as long as it's in the most appropriate way, of course. Mm-hmm. It's a G-rated show.
Very good. And I guess one of the other reasons that I love Big Bang Theory, because it touches on one of my other passions in life, and is I work with a lot of children on the autistic spectrum, and we know that Sheldon is a classic example of someone with Asperger's syndrome.
Is that right?
Well, it would appear. I mean, he just has all the classic symptoms of Asperger's. He's very highly intelligent, but with a very narrow range of interests, has very poor social skills, does not know how to deal with people in a social way. He has to sort of almost learn what to say and how to approach. In recent episodes, he's acquired a girlfriend, but he doesn't know what to do with her, and is terrified of even touching her.
Sorry, Devon, can I just interrupt you there? Most men don't know what to do with their girlfriends.
Oh, okay, I see.
we really don't have a clue. We'd like to think we do, but we don't. And listeners, if you disagree with that, you can contact us here at the In My Backyard show. You're listening to Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7 and 90.3 FM, and we're talking with Devon Barnes, our resource for today. And if you think that men do know what to do with their girlfriends, or how to handle them, I should say, then feel free to send us a message, inmybackyardrnb@gmail.com. Now, okay, back to Sheldon. He doesn't know how to handle his girlfriend. So is he perhaps talking Klingon with his girlfriend?
I haven't seen an episode where they've resorted to Klingon, because if you watch the show, you'll see that his girlfriend is also quite Asperger's as well. So it's a very interesting combination.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were going to say she's quite Klingon.
Well, she would like to be, but he won't allow that at this point in time.
Oh, right. Okay. Sure. Well, I'm imagining all kinds of weird makeup and fancy hairdos, not to mention the uniforms. Is it known on the program that he is considered to be, what was the condition you were referring to?
Asperger's.
Right. Is it known on the program, or is this just an assessment that you're making as a professional in this area?
No, I think most people agree that Sheldon, and to a lesser extent some of his colleagues, would be on that at the higher end of that spectrum, where you have highly intelligent people who are socially inept.
Right.
And I don't think the word Asperger's is actually officially ever mentioned on the show, but for those of us who have a good understanding of it, it's a great portrayal of someone with Asperger's in a very compassionate and in a positive way, because it shows, the positive aspects as well as anything that might be, and and not really negative, but the other aspects of the condition are shown in a very humorous way, but with compassion. And the script of that show is just so clever. It's wonderful.
And I guess also the fact that people with the condition, even though it's not openly talked about, could lead a normal and successful life. Yes,
they can, but it's quite often sort of acknowledged that those with a high level of Asperger's always have some difficulty relating to people.
Right.
So they often do not have a large circle of close friends, because it's the difficulty with social interaction that they that they find most distressing, really, and some of them are very aware that they have these difficulties. And there is a group that have never been diagnosed and who are aware of their social difficulties, who become quite depressed because they know they're different, but they don't know why they're different. And so that group are really at risk for other mental health problems.
Right. Well, let's take this now into the real world. Pardon me, assuming, of course, that listeners believe that, Klingons aren't real, or that the Big Bang Theory is actually real people living a real life and we just happen to have cameras in the rooms. Mm-hmm. If you were a parent and you had a child who was suffering from Asperger's, do we call it a syndrome or a condition?
Yes, normally it's referred to as Asperger's syndrome.
Right. Would you recommend that people openly get help and bring it out into the open, or is it something that we deal with privately?
Definitely get help. There's no question about that. And the sooner the child can be get a correct diagnosis and be plugged into appropriate services, the much better outcome they will have. And also that also supports the parents and enables the child to have a much less risk of mental illness later on. I've had the great fortune to have worked with one young man with Asperger's for many years now. He's highly intelligent. He would be considered a savant. He could read at 3. He was composing music at 6.
Wow.
And he has the most amazing parents and who are very aware, and he's been getting help since he was 3 years of age. But the parents then had the dilemma down the track, do we tell him what his condition is? And so with lots of counselling, I think when he was about 11 or 12, it was decided to tell him what his condition was, because he knew he was different. Right. He's a very smart boy.
At that early age. And he was able to handle that at that early age.
And he was so relieved, you cannot imagine. Right? He just came in the day after he'd been told with the greatest sense of relief. And he walked in and said to me, Devon, guess what? I'm an asparagus.
Very good. So the good news story at the end of all of this is that people should watch The Big Bang Theory. Klingons are real. It's a language you should learn if you have the spare time. And if you have a child, or if you yourself are a sufferer of Asperger's syndrome, it's a good thing to get help and be open about it. That's the message?
Exactly.
Well, good to finish on a very good news message there. And Devon Barnes, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon on the In My Backyard show here at Radio Northern Beaches. And we hope to have you on the show again sometime.
Thanks again. I look forward to coming back.